The night was cold, and the city's neon lights flickered over puddles left by the rain. Daniel Gray, a self-made millionaire, sat in the back seat of his black sedan, scrolling through business reports that never seemed to end. His driver slowed as they passed an alleyway, where a small figure caught Daniel's attention, a little girl digging through a trash bin, searching desperately for something to eat. "Stop the car," Daniel ordered suddenly. The driver hesitated but pulled over. Daniel stepped out, the expensive soles of his shoes splashing in muddy water. He walked closer, the sound of the city fading behind him. The girl looked up, startled, her face smudged with dirt, but her eyes looked heartbreakingly familiar. "Hey," he said gently. "You shouldn't be out here. Where are your parents?" The girl clutched a torn doll and whispered, "Mama's sick. I just need food for her." Something twisted inside Daniel. There was something in her voice, her face, a reflection of someone he used to know. He knelt down, removing his coat to wrap it around her trembling shoulders. "What's your name, sweetheart?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Lila. Lila Gray." Daniel froze. The world around him seemed to stop. His pulse thundered in his ears as his heart sank with realization. That name, his name. And in that moment, the powerful man who had everything realized he had just found the one thing he never knew he'd lost: his own daughter. Daniel's breath caught in his throat as he stared at the little girl. "Lila Gray?" he repeated, his voice barely a whisper. She nodded innocently, unaware of the storm those words had just unleashed. Your mother," Daniel said slowly, his voice trembling. "What's her name?" The girl tilted her head, clutching the doll tighter. "Mommy's name is Anna," she said softly. "She says my daddy was a good man once, before he forgot about us." Daniel felt as if the ground had vanished beneath him. Anna. The name hit him like a punch to the chest. Years ago, he had loved her deeply, but they had separated when his ambition overtook his heart. She'd left without a word, and he'd buried the memory under boardrooms, luxury, and silence. He turned to his driver. "Find her mother. Now." Minutes later, Daniel stood outside a rundown apartment building. The hallway smelled of damp plaster and lost hope. When he knocked, the door opened to reveal Anna, thin, pale, yet still carrying the quiet strength he remembered. Her eyes widened in shock. "Daniel?" she whispered. "Why are you here?" He looked past her to the small, cluttered room, where a threadbare blanket lay on a worn sofa, the only sign of home. "I saw her," Daniel said, voice breaking. "Our daughter. She was digging through trash." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "I tried, Daniel. I really did. But when you left, I had nothing. I didn't want your money, I just wanted you to care." Daniel's throat tightened as he looked at her and then at Lila, who had followed quietly behind. He realized then that all his success, all his wealth, meant nothing compared to what he had lost. For the first time in years, Daniel Gray felt powerless. He had built empires, closed billion-dollar deals, and shaped the skyline with his ambition, yet standing in that dim, crumbling apartment, he couldn't find the words to heal the wounds he had caused. Anna stood by the window, arms crossed, tears still glistening on her cheeks. "You don't get to just walk back in," she said softly. "Lila doesn't even know who you are." Daniel's eyes shifted to the little girl sitting on the couch, nibbling on a piece of bread as if it were treasure. His chest tightened. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," he said. "But please, let me help. You shouldn't be living like this. She deserves better." Anna shook her head. "Better isn't just money, Daniel. It's love. It's time. It's being there." Her words cut deep because they were true. He had spent his life chasing wealth to prove he mattered, but somewhere along the way, he'd abandoned the very people who made him human. Kneeling down beside Lila, Daniel smiled gently. "Do you like ice cream?" he asked. Her eyes lit up for the first time. "I've never had real ice cream," she said shyly. He swallowed hard, forcing back tears. "Then we'll fix that. Starting now." Anna watched quietly as Daniel took Lila's hand, helping her put on a small pink coat. For a brief moment, the hardened businessman disappeared, and in his place stood a father rediscovering what truly mattered. As they stepped into the street, the city lights shimmered against the cold night air. For the first time, Daniel didn't feel alone. He felt a spark of something he hadn't felt in years: hope. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the cracks of Anna's apartment blinds. The small table was covered with breakfast Daniel had brought: fresh fruit, warm bread, and coffee that smelled like comfort. Anna stood in silence, watching him move gently around the kitchen, awkwardly but determined. Lila giggled as Daniel tried, and failed, to flip a pancake without dropping it. "Daddy, you're funny!" she laughed, her joy lighting up the small room. The word daddy made Daniel freeze. It was the first time she'd said it, and it hit him like a wave of both joy and guilt. His eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered softly, kneeling beside her. "I should have been here all along." Anna turned away, her eyes wet. She had seen powerful men break before, but never like this. Daniel wasn't the arrogant millionaire she once knew. He was humble, broken, human. "I've arranged something," Daniel said, turning to her. "A new apartment. Medical care for you. A school for Lila. No conditions, no expectations, just help." Anna shook her head. "Daniel, we don't want your money." He smiled faintly. "It's not money, Anna. It's love, finally given the way it should have been." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Anna stepped forward, her voice trembling. "You've changed," she whispered. He nodded. "I had to lose everything that mattered to understand what love truly means." As Lila hugged him tightly, Daniel realized that the emptiness he had carried for years was finally fading. The warmth of that small, struggling home filled him in ways his mansions never could.